Welcome to the new Ragnar Shiba YouTube channel. With all the information about Shiba Inu and many great crypto projects. Tutorials, projects, interviews, information, news, GameFi, NFTs, DeFi, comics, illustration, design, and much more.
Okay guys, this space is going to be a bit different. First of all, I wanna ask for an apology because I announced my channel, but I never did something in a long time. But this was because different situations, and I also have a technical problem with my mixer, and I wanted to have a good sound. So the mixer that I bought in the beginning, it was not very good and it broke, and then I bought a new one, so I think this time it's going to work better. I hope that. And I did also have some personal situations that didn't allow me to have enough time to dedicate to make a space in YouTube. The other part is that I got very interested in doing a game. I was always attracted a lot for video games since I was a child, and I played a lot of games in the beginnings. So yes, I'm a bit older than you probably. But I like the first games that appear in the market, like Atari. You can have their Space Invaders. That was one of the most favorite in the beginning. But then everything began to grow, and there were some other games that could get my attention also. I love them. And the other thing is that I was trying to make games in my computer. I don't have a slow computer because I'm a designer, so I need a computer that it has some power, but it's not super powerful. It's a regular computer. It's more powerful than an average person can have at home, but it's not the more powerful computer. And I was trying to do some games, and I began to investigate game engines, and I downloaded Godot. Godot is a good game engine. When I download some tutorials, some samples that you can investigate to learn how the engine works, how the software to create games works, I couldn't run in my computer because it was 3D, and 3D needs a graphic card that is very powerful, and my graphic card is not so powerful because I have a Mac, and Mac is most focused on the processor, not so much in the graphic card. And it's not easy to buy a card that is faster and change it in a Mac. So that was the first problem that I encountered, and I saw that the first games that were done in the beginnings, like I'm thinking about Doom, for example, or Quake. They were games that you could see everything in 3D in computers that were much slower than now. So why do we have now those problems? We shouldn't have that. And the problem is that in the beginning they used techniques to simulate 3D in a 2D environment. Sorry, I mix it sometimes words in Spanish. but okay, you have to forgive me. My English is not so perfect. So they did it in 2D and simulated 3D. People call it 2.5D. So it wasn't really 3D. It was 2.5, like 2D, almost 3D. But the most important thing is they were doing it with very slow computers. So why we cannot do that now? So I'm going to go more into that topic when my idea is to talk now about the market, the crypto market, because I know everyone will be interested more in me talking about crypto and what happening with Shiba and with other projects. But I wanted to say this because really that was the thing that took me a lot of time and didn't allow me to make a podcast, because I begin to investigate to how programs works, and it was something that I always liked, but I always were blocked by the idea of programming. Programming for me was very difficult to get in my head, to understand the language, and now I'm beginning to see how it works, and I'm improving and I feel like more confident. So I dedicate a lot of time to programming, and I'm working on a prototype for a game, and that was taking me time from doing other things. And the other thing is that I said that I was going to talk a bit more about crypto, and together with the game, you know that I like drawing, I like illustration. I want to make something with illustration that in crypto. So I'm thinking yet what is that? Probably an NFT or something like that. But I would also like to connect this with the game. I would like also the game to have some utility in crypto. So I begin to think about the history that I'm going to tell in the game, because the game has to have a history. It doesn't have to be only go there and kill enemies. You need a background to make it attractive. So I begin to investigate a story that I like, and one of the things that I like a lot is StrangerThings. I think that everyone is watching that show, and if you're not watching it, I recommend you to watch it, because it's very, very, very well done, and I think it takes me to that retro thing that I like from the first games, because most of the story is done like in the 80s, and there is many reference to things that happened in the 80s that it was my how do you say, my teen ages were in the 80s. So I like it a lot. Investigating, I discovered that in the beginning the name of the series, the brother Duffers were the one who wrote the story. They didn't call it Stranger Things from the beginning. It was Montauk. And Montauk is a city in New York. Let's say in the how do you say, in the point very far from, if you go to Long Island, at the end of Long Island, there you have Montauk, and there is a lighthouse there that is very famous also. And all the story that we see in Stranger Things is inspired by something that happened in that place, because in that place there was a military base, and they put a big building that it has a big antenna, and many people begin to make conspiracy theories about that antenna, and it's very, very, very interesting. And so let's see how I explain all this to you. And well, I hope you like the program that I'm going to do today. So let's take a little break and we continue with more. Okay, friends, here we are again. We are back, and this time we're going to continue a little bit with the market, with the situation of the market, how is everything doing now. We are all worried because we see the market right now a little bit like a bear market, like a bit down, and well, we always have our investments and we want everything to go up, and sometimes that doesn't happen. That's not how crypto works, but crypto gives us a lot of opportunity always to be in a better place if we are smart and if we study the market and if we don't rush always to go to the next thing that is going to come and looking for that token that is going to jump like thousands 1000x up. That maybe we're lucky we can have one of those projects in our portfolio, but I think we have more possibility to find one of those projects if we have a portfolio that is done with very careful, and if we do it looking at what's happening in the market, not only buying because of FOMO, because of wanted to be the first ones. So right now, Bitcoin is always our reference about what's going on in the market, and right now Bitcoin is going down, and some people is always when Bitcoin goes down, people begin to make a story like, oh, crypto is not good. We are going to hell. Right now people is saying that probably Bitcoin will continue going down and crypto is not good anymore and things like that. And then when Bitcoin goes up, everyone gets excited again and they think that it's going to go to 1 million. So we like to be in the middle, not always super excited and not always super depressed. We have to be in the middle, and we have to look for the, how do you say, normally they say the middle path. We have to see the good and the bad and try to see the market with facts, not with emotion. So right now Bitcoin is around, let me check, it's in 86,000, so it's around 80,000. This is telling us something important. The market is not weak at the moment. There is like a pause. There was a bit moves in Bitcoin, and now it's like a tendency to look for its place, right? After a strong move, Bitcoin usually needs time to cool down, and that doesn't mean the cycle is over. It means that it's resetting expectations. So when Bitcoin slows down or moves sideways, two things normally happen. The first one is that altcoins don't all move at once. This is not a market where everything pumps together. The capital becomes selective and the narratives matter more than hype. So it's more important the narrative, the story that is behind that project. And the second one is that people begin to look all the time the Bitcoin chart and start asking what actually has a story, a community, or reason to exist. This is where we have projects like Shiba Inu, right? Because Shiba is not an altcoin that reacts to Bitcoin price. It behaves more like an ecosystem. When Bitcoin is too strong, everything just follows it. When Bitcoin is slowed down, project with a strong community, with long-term vision, with ongoing building, can decouple, at least temporarily. And for Shiba specifically, this kind of market is not bad. It's usually a testing ground. So speculators get bored and the builders stay, right? So this is like a filter. It's not a bearish phase for the altcoins. and not all altcoins will survive, right? But the ones that do usually will come out stronger when the momentum returns, so we have to wait for Bitcoin to recover. And this is the moment where we see changes in all the market. That's the mindset we have to be right now. Not so much noise, more signal, less short-term price and more long-term story. This is my vision about how everything is going now. So if you see now the Bitcoin chart, I suggest you always to go to a 1 month period. You can see in the chart 15 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hours, 24 hours, 1 week. So I normally try to go to 1 month to see the tendency. If you see the tendency of Bitcoin is always going up. But if you pay attention, you see that in those highs, there is always some slowdown and the Bitcoin price goes down, but suddenly it goes up again and it surpasses the previous all-time high. But you have a period of bear market, and after that, a new all-time high, and the same thing happens. It's a cycle, and you have to see now we are in the same cycle. But if you check the chart, it's always going up. So let me check now. Shiba has had, I think, a complicated moment right now because Shiba is now in position 25. So it was before like 22, 23, and now it's a bit down. So let me check the chart. We have here Shiba Inu. It's lower in my computer, is a bit slow now. Or internet is a bit low, I don't know. So it's lower in data. We have like 4% down in 24 hours. But as I said, we are going to check in 1 month to see what's going on. Now Shiba Inu is in position 25. If you check in CoinMarketCap, if you check what percentage it went up in the whole time, you have like, let me check, 559, 615%. So it's 560,000 and 667%. So almost 300,000% from the beginning. But I know it's more. This is what CoinMarketCap has recorded, but doesn't mean that it's all. Normally, CoinMarketCap take those values from different sources, and maybe it's not everything included there. I know Shiba has gone up more than that. If you buy in the beginning, you could be very rich now. But not all of us have the good luck to meet Shiba when it was very, very, very cheap. So if you go to 1 month, you will see that we have, like in October 21, we have a big jump. That was the biggest moment in Shiba when we surpassed even Doge. And it was crazy, really. And then, as normally happened, it went down. And now we have, in August 23, it has like a very low moment. And if you see again in March 24, it went up again. Not as much as before, but it went up. And then it went down again, and we have another high in November of 2024. And now it's like cooling down. But this is my idea. Shiba is a project token that it was created for the community. So when Shiba was so high, it was because every one of us were working to try to take Shiba to those highs. The community was very important. And right now I feel that because Shiba has gotten a big market cap, it's like more difficult to move. You need more investments, bigger investments to make it go higher. So we need to move more than before, more than what we done before in the past. And we know that Shiba decentralized. Shiba, when it was launched, no one had tokens. Everyone was sent to Uniswap. So no one has control really, only us. So if we have invested something in Shiba, I think it's good for us to continue supporting Shiba and making it work better. And when that happens, all the other tokens from the ecosystem will improve also. Right now we have some problems with Shibarium. There was a hack that is damaged a little bit. This is also affecting Shiba in general. There was also a problem with Leash that many will know, and the devs are now working on making a migration to make a better contract for Leash and to try to recover again and everything. So I think we have to support that. Hacks, sadly, is something that happened. Many important exchanges that have much more funds, more money than Shiba, that is a community project, suffer that kind of problems. And when you do a blockchain like Shibarium that is made with your heart, with the heart of the community, with the best intentions, and sometimes there can be these kind of things happening. It's not good, but there is a lot of different situations in different blockchains that this has happened. We had one not so long ago with Ronin, that it was a blockchain made by the guy who made I think it was Axie, the name of the project. They made a game, and they created their own blockchain because Ethereum was very expensive at that moment. And they also have a hack, so it's not something good, but it can happen. And I think the best way is to continue helping each other and trying to improve the situation. So if the tokens recover, we can recover those funds that have been lost in that hack. And the person who did that, he has to know that he's damaging a lot the community and people like that are workers, are people that go to work every day, that have families and everything. The scammers is something very, very bad. The scams are happening in crypto, but sadly the decentralization is what it has that it has advantages and some disadvantages. And one of the disadvantages is that all the infrastructure is done by holders, by community, by people who maybe are not so technical or doesn't have the capacity economically to make it more safe. But everyone tried to do it that way. And well, this is damaging also the crypto market in general, but we have the power to change that. By how? By showing that people that we don't quit, we continue finding ways to avoid these things to happen. So that's what my crypto view of the week. So I hope you like it, and if you have any opinion you want to say, you can go to our telegrams and share your opinion on how you see the situation at the moment. So I will continue then with other thing completely different, a stranger thing that I will talk in the next block, or I don't know how you say it. In Spanish is like block, a different part of the program. Okay, I realized that this episode ended up being a bit longer
than I originally planned. So, especially the crypto part and introduction, it went an almost half hour. So I want to make not so long episode. So instead of rushing things or cutting ideas short, I'm going to split it. What do you think? The next episode, I will focus more on what I've been learning about game development and how I'm using ChatGPT to help me with the code and how all this connects with creativity, games, storytelling, and tech. So that's coming next. More about creating games and how to connect it to crypto, and something interesting about how the Stranger Things story was done and from where all those ideas come from. So stay tuned. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next Right Now Ship YouTube episode.
Click on the subscribe button and come back for more information about the SHIB community and more. Daily news, SHIB Magazine, Shibarium, SHIB OS, ShibaSwap, Metaverse, Shiboshis, Doggy DAO, SHIB Torch, SHIB Bridge, and I will talk not only about the SHIB ecosystem, also about crypto, DeFi, GameFi, NFTs, game development, comic creation, illustrations, designs, videos, and everything needed to succeed in the crypto world. You will find it only in the Ragnar Shiba YouTube channel. Come back soon, and don't forget to subscribe.